Hello, welcome to another episode of In the Line of Wire. This is Jahara. I have on the set with me today two people, not just one. Anwar Qazi, who is Chief Operating Officer of Sybrid, and the Head of Business Development, Sulaiman Faruqi. Hi guys, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
Fine, thanks. Good to have you here.
Thank you for inviting us. Thanks for having us.
Let's talk a little bit about who you are and where you come from. So Anwar, tell us a little about yourself.
Sure, time to oversell. I started my career in the US with a financial company in the IT departments. And I got exposed to outsourcing back in '98.
Okay.
And it's a very large financial house, Fortune 100. And they started outsourcing quite a few of their functions to a South Asian country.
Okay.
That's where I got exposed to it, and I saw very closely how the process works and the benefits that it provides to both the outsourcer and the partner in offshore country. I also realized the importance of outsourcing not only in terms of financial impact, but also in terms of process improvement and the business impact it has overall on the company. The company that I was working for, it really thought of this. Even at that time in '98, it really thought of this working relationship with the outsourcer as a marriage, and they put in a lot of effort. First year benefit was $225 million in terms of cost benefit, and in terms of business improvement benefit, that's usually measurable over a longer time period. But we could say that our overall our customer satisfaction improved by about 9% to 10%.
That's pretty good.
And repeat purchase and loyalty with that. We realized the benefits of this in quick successions over a very fast period of time. That the impact that had on my career, although I was not in outsourcing, I never thought of going in outsourcing back then. But in '98, when I got exposed to this and I stayed with this project all the way up to its maturity, I realized that this is where the world is going, like it or not.
Right.
The water will not flow, backwards. Water will only flow the direction it gets. And we have many cases historically. If you look at manufacturing outsourcing, also back in the '80s, and this is now servicing outsourcing. So it's a natural life cycle.
Right.
So stayed with that. Came to Pakistan.
When was that?
2001.
Okay.
And Pakistan was in interesting times at that time, very interesting times, and it was never used to, worry about being bored, just open the TV and watch the news. There was so much drama happening already, so it was a soap opera, Pakistan as a whole.
Okay.
So at that time we were quite, personally I was quite in two minds what to do, but of course came back here for personal reasons. Then I was in two minds what to do. What would this country have to offer to me, and what would I be offering to this country? Eventually, through very wobbly feet, found my ground and stood on them. And since then, been involved in the Pakistani outsourcing industry. Nothing else. I've not been in anywhere else. Of course, back in those days, things were difficult, in many sense of the ways, and since then things have really improved.
Yes, we had, problems with connectivity. We had, it was a growing period for us.
Right.
It was very early days.
Right.
But things have improved now. We've got good connectivity. We've got prices have also come down. So things are a lot better for the outsourcing industry than it was back then.
Absolutely. One of the things that I believe has really improved, and that has nothing to do with anything that at least I did, one of the things is that the people who matter, the people who really, really matter in Pakistan have started to take outsourcing seriously.
Okay.
Although we have seen many ups and downs,
But that happens
maybe
everywhere.
trials and balances. But what we've seen is that people the people who matter, who are visionary, have picked up on this industry now, finally.
Are you talking about customers, or are you talking about government, or
Well,
you're talking about the outsourcing industry itself?
No, I'm talking about the fourth one. I'm talking about business houses.
Okay.
Visionary business houses, stable business people who have been in this country for a very, very long time have picked it up.
Right.
And they said they realize the benefits. Pakistan also has seen a very, very large growth cycle, just almost now tapering off towards its maturity cycle of stabilization. But we saw tremendous growth over the last 7-8 years. And after that growth, now that the time is the time that growth slows down and you have to look at efficiency. When you talk about efficiency now, in 2009,
yes.
outsourcing has to be a play in that efficiency. You just cannot do efficiency without outsourcing.
Right.
Because once somebody in your line of competition starts doing it, has the cost benefit and has the margin that he or she gets, yes, and
then you can't ignore.
Then you just cannot ignore. So it's like a snowball effect, you know.
Right. Now, Suleiman, so tell us a little bit about where you got your education, and when was the BPO sector what you started your career with, or is it something that you came into later on?
Okay. Well, my professional experience started back in '99. I was going to school then. I was in the US. So got a job in MCI WorldCom.
Okay.
Started off in their sales, and when MCI WorldCom went down, so the whole most of the team actually moved to AT&T corporate sales. So I moved to AT&T corporate sales, and my first interaction with outsourcing was in 2001. At that time, I moved to T-Mobile in the US. So they moved their customer services to India and sales as well. So at that time, actually, mostly it was sales. So we took care of that, and it was a good experience for 6 months, even though the connectivity then, or you can say the experience, the people who were in India wasn't that good. But one thing was they managed to take out good sales, and number two, the cost effect actually. It was having people or sales team doing telesales or telemarketing in the US, and as compared to having in India, there was a huge effect in terms of
cost savings.
Yeah, cost savings and everything. So it was. So I was linked to this project. So after finishing my studies, got my job in telecoms, and then came back to Karachi in 2004. Started working for a call center here as a manager ops. It was a very unique job because never did something like that, never anticipated it. But it was good. It was a good experience because when you start working for such company, because coming from a telco background, you're limited to your role actually. Over here, you're doing multitasking. If someone needs help, you go and help them out. And also gives you a chance to innovate things or create new things or whatever. So started working over there, and after spending a couple of years in a couple of call centers, I joined Sybrid as the head of business development.
Okay, so now let's talk about Sybrid. What's the mission? What's the vision regarding Sybrid? When was it started?
Interestingly, the concept started about 2 years ago.
Okay.
As I said towards the end of my personal introduction, that after being in this industry for so long, and in being in Pakistan for about 8-9 years, I realized that in Pakistan things move at a different pace than the rest of the world.
Right.
Interestingly, which is good and bad, in both ways. But now the interest of the proper mature business groups has taken off in Pakistan. Outsourcing itself has taken off in Pakistan, as we all know. And that is wonderful news for Pakistan, as it is developing some excellent resources and maturity in the infrastructure also, finally.
Right.
Now, about 2 years ago, Lexan Group realized, actually the chairman of Lexan Group, Mr. Iqbal Lakhani, who is also the CEO of two of its IT companies now, CyberNet and also Sybrid, was the visionary behind this idea.
Okay.
When I was hired 2 years ago by the Lexan Group for CyberNet as a general manager, during my interview, they had proposed to me Mr. Shahid Ahmed Khan at that time, who was also one of the visionaries behind Sybrid, had mentioned to me that they see now finally outsourcing coming to a level where they see the J curve hitting its bottom and now started to go in for the local business and of course for the international market also. So during my interview, they said that we are looking for somebody who would be able to participate with us in the long term while we develop this opportunity for Lexan Group and then Pakistan as a whole.
Right.
So we started off by consolidating the group's business.
Okay, that makes sense.
Interestingly, we decided that, listen, this country at that time did not have enough business generation or enough maturity to be a lone star and go out and establish and put in the best technical solution, put in the best HR solution, put in the best training solution, and then hope and wait for something to kick in.
Right.
What we decided was to start ourselves from the beginning. And basically, any third world country, you do the vertical integration yourself as a whole. So we did the whole vertical integration, and we brought in Cybernet, customer service, technical support.
Right.
Then we started with McDonald's countrywide delivery. Then we started with Express News.
Right.
Then we started with Colgate, and some other small group companies, servicing them for different needs and requirements. Once we went through the maturity curve, and once it was proven that the concept works, the team works, and of course it was a pure VC model, although it was a group company, but it was a pure VC model where we had to actually go and pitch to our companies, where we actually had to compete against other competitors in the marketplace, where we actually had to prove that we met the SLAs and the satisfaction levels for the people that we were servicing.
Sometimes it's more difficult to sell to your group company than to
it usually is. True.
They are more demanding.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can't translate that Gar ki murgi dal barawar wala into English. Anyway, so after that, once the maturity was there, the group said, okay, you guys, Mr. Iqbal Lakhani proposed again, as he had done a couple of years ago, he said, let's separate the company.
Okay.
He remains to be the CEO of this company while I'm the COO. And we started off by, since we had been in local for about 1 year already, so we didn't have to delay our international approach for too long.
Right.
When the company was launched in July of last year, we immediately started hitting the international scene, not to get business, but to gain knowledge.
Okay.
We had already done about 6 to 7 months of due diligence before that of what industry vertical do we need to approach, what is the matchmaking for servicing here in Pakistan, what will be the matrix for performance. The good thing is that the group was not at all forcing us to have any kind of financial constraint. So it allowed us as entrepreneurs to figure out the best matchmaking possibilities between what Pakistan can do and what is being serviced out.
Okay, so there was enough time for you to actually grow that international.
So we did 7 months of due diligence from here. Then we did about another 6 months of due diligence outside of Pakistan.
Right.
We went and traveled the whole world, different places. We met a lot of people, hired a lot of people, consultants, figured out what is the best way to move forward to Pakistan. Did a lot of controlled environmental testing to see how things work. And we finally settled on the healthcare market in the US.
Okay.
We are the birth of recession, in a way. We started off when the recession was almost at its peak in July, August of last year, or getting to its peak.
That actually some of the largest companies started during the recession. So
yes, absolutely. So what the auditors miss, usually the recession show. So when we had hit the market, the recession was actually showing us what the companies, all of these companies all around the world that we were talking to, what actually they were made of, not what they were showcasing themselves to be.
Okay.
It was not about what you had projected. It was not about what you are showing in receivables. It is what is in the bank and what is on the ground, what really mattered.
Right.
So this is when we started talking to companies, and this is when we started talking to individuals and whatnot, and we settled on the healthcare industry. Now, apart from being a recession-proof product and all of these things, we believe that healthcare is very suitable for Pakistan due to the mass HR availability in Pakistan for voice and non-voice, both for BPO and KPO servicing.
Actually, health, financial sector, the legal, we've got enough human resource to service all these sectors.
Yes. Oh yes, absolutely, absolutely. And we have the tenacity to service them also.
Right.
But anyways, coming back to the point earlier.
Yeah.
So we started a healthcare initiative, and we had a joint venture done in December of last year, and we've been servicing practices, small, medium, and large, from 3 states in the US for end-to-end service provisioning, which includes call centers and billing and collections and account receivable management and payroll management and referral management, insurance management, credentialing, everything.
Right.
We do tons of works from here for, we acquired also a software solution.
Clinic in a box, right?
Clinic in a box. We now branded Clinic in a box. That's right. That's our product. So these are the 2 major, actually I didn't even talk about the first one. The first one was, of course, linking up to my earlier comment about CyberNet and level 3 and whatnot. So the first one is managed services.
Okay.
Whereby we are already servicing around 1,200 plus customers in Pakistan.
Okay.
Which includes 70% of your public companies.
Okay.
We are their first level, second level, and third level support.
Okay, terrific.
So if anything happens, we also do a lot of management for quite a few banks and other institutions for managed services, whereby we're handling their NOCs end to end, whereby we're managing their LAN networks, whereby we're managing their computing networks also, the desktop and all of those things. Okay. So that's our first product. In managed services, we are close to having a countrywide partnership with some of the largest technology providers in the world, bringing this solution for the first time in Pakistan. Everybody is doing this in a small way of form, people are doing small pieces here and there, but nobody has linked managed service in a one great piece of one cohesive manner.
Right. Okay.
It's very fragmented still.
Okay.
We have linked it. We already control the access networks. That means the bandwidth and the LAN. We control that already for so many corporates already. Right. It's very easy to take it to the next level, to go into their data centers and to go into their LANs and into their desktops and talk about their application layer and how we can manage that and all of these things.
Right. So Suleiman, tell us how many people now work within Sybrid?
Well, currently we are fluctuating between 450 to 500 at the moment. We have 14 locations countrywide, where we can reach out to companies in 50 smaller cities as well. So we have about, when we talk about managed services, we have about 100 plus teams sitting in Karachi, and the rest of the team is sitting across Pakistan, and they are servicing clients. You can imagine that we're up in north, remote areas where we are servicing our clients, and we are anywhere in Sindh province, in Punjab, rural or urban, in Balochistan, even the border areas where we are servicing few of our clients over there.
Okay, the services, are they all being offered in English or are they multilingual?
Well, when it comes to our contact center services, we are multilingual actually. We obviously we are running one of the largest, you can say, inbound order taking operations in Pakistan for one of the Fortune 100 company. So that is in that is a multilingual operation which we have. Then obviously for international, we need people in English, so it's in English primarily. But we're also looking forward to induct more languages like Spanish, because Spanish is
there's a lot of business out there. Yes.
Especially North America, or you can also hit Europe. So this is something which we are inshallah going to add in our linguistic side as well, in our contact centers. And that's one.
Okay. Now, so the US, internationally, it's the US that you have aimed at, and domestically, of course, you have a growing
yes. If you want to summarize what Sybrid does, Sybrid is basically a managed services provider.
Correct.
That includes the call centers as a part of it.
Right.
But it's much more than that.
Of course.
It's an IT solution provider also.
Right.
And then Sybrid has a healthcare product in the US called Clinic in a Box, which we just talked about. Sybrid then also does generic BPO and KPO work.
Right.
Like Suleiman had just mentioned. These are the three major areas that Sybrid plays in. We're talking about the languages from our Malaysian call center office. We can service up to another 20 languages.
Wow, that's
so
great.
yeah, so
So
whenever
how many people do you have working in Malaysia?
That's only about 75 for now. We just started off about 3 quarters ago.
Okay.
So, but we started off servicing different languages from there, Spanish and other languages from there. We just spoke about.
Okay. Now, what is the vision? What do you see? How is the growth going to be? Is it going to be a fast growth? Do you look to doubling your workforce in the next year, or is it going to be a slow, very concentrated growth, to make sure that you retain the quality and not jump too fast? Or are you ready to? I mean, you could be very well prepared.
I don't think there's a deviation. I don't think there's a deviation between fast growth and quality.
Right.
I think they can be parallel to each other also.
No, if you're ready, of course.
It depends. Absolutely, you're absolutely right. You see, the group we belong to, unless you have a certain scale, you can't enter the door. You sit outside and have some tea in the hallway. Thank you very much.
So you need to scale up.
Okay. No, it's not that. I'm just kidding. Basically, you see, as we had discussed earlier, we were the birth of the recession era.
And you took your time starting the company.
You did
a lot of business intelligence.
We had a huge planning, effort.
Right.
And then execution. The time for the planning was given, so execution time can be halved or even less. Depending on availability, to execute what has been planned. Now, focused. As I said, we are very focused already. I only told you about 3 products that we're offering. But the speed, right now, I know of companies which are growing, not in India, but elsewhere, not in Pakistan. I did that. Not in Pakistan, but in India, there are companies which are growing 400-500% a year because they verticalize themselves into some industries which are booming because of recession. Right. Now, I'm not saying that we also do the same thing, concentrate on recession, hard-hit recession industries and try to service them with lower rates and whatnot, commoditize ourselves, not at all. But I'm saying that keeping the view in mind that right now everybody has to concentrate on efficiency, like we talked about earlier.
Right, of course.
That people have to not only cut costs, but also increase the sustainability of revenue, increase the time that their own customer remains with them, and have more clarity for themselves in the future time that can only come with outsourcing.
Right.
So if we take that value in mind and then we approach the right customer with the right product mix, then I believe that the growth will be exponential. Okay. We're going through 118% growth right now.
Okay, that's pretty good.
I cannot say that we will be able to sustain that growth. I do hope we will be. I don't see any surprises happening anymore. I think we have a lot of economic surprises behind us now.
Right.
So
there's already been positive growth according to the current figures that have been released.
Yes.
Worldwide,
yeah,
not
but
just
fall through to Pakistan might take some time.
Okay.
You know, so there could be good fall through also, by the way, and we are all hoping that there will be some good fall through.
Right.
The only thing which we believe that might hinder the future that we see forward, or one of the few things that we see that might be a hindrance to the future would be our own lack of understanding of quality delivery.
Okay.
You know, nothing else. If we are not able to understand what quality delivery really means, if we are not able to pass it on down the ladders, if we don't have the systems in place to execute quality delivery on a day-to-day basis, that will ensure our failure, nothing else.
Okay. But I don't see that happening since you've spent so much time in planning and executing so far. I don't see you sort of letting that go.
Hopefully we won't lose sight of that, but this is the only thing that we worried about.
Right.
Right
No, it's good to worry because then you make sure that you don't let it happen.
True.
Suleiman, but with that kind of growth, training is extremely important.
Yes.
So is there a lot of emphasis on training within Sybrid?
Yes, we have actually 3 major departments which are interlinked. One is obviously the human resource, the other one is the training, and third one is the quality.
Yeah.
So the process actually which we adopt is very, you can say, intense, where the screening of the individuals, because we have a large pool here. If you see, I think we have under 25, we have more than 10 million people in Pakistan. So there's a large pool, and stats show that they have at least a bachelor's degree. But at the same time, we need, so that's a raw material. We need a good refinery to refine them and make them skilled labor. So yes, we have a good.
So you're going to put people through a refinery?
Yeah, we need.
Or a washing machine.
Okay.
So we need actually a good, you can say, human resource management system, then
right.
obviously the training. So, and we need skilled labor which suits our type of business. So yeah, there are a lot of people out there, there are a lot of people who speak good English, but at the same time you need to have good communication skills.
Right.
And with good communication skills, then obviously we are there to give them an opportunity to work and then improve themselves. So yes, we have good HR, you can say, process. Then we have intense training program. We have very you can say quality assurance department which keeps a very close eye to those individuals, or to make sure that they are improving or they're not lacking, you can say.
And I'd like to mention something here.
Yeah.
Again, this goes back to our planning. Before we started, we developed Pakistan's first hosted in-house, not in-house built, but Pakistan indigenous built human capital management system,
okay.
which in a way you can call it HRMS, but it's much more than HRMS. It's much, even compared to some of the big names in the world, it's much more, it involves much more planning from the HR side, and it treats HR intrinsically like a capital,
Okay.
you know, rather than a resource,
Okay.
you know. So we've taken the name out.
All right.
There's no H resource, you know, there's H capital.
Okay.
So we backed it up with the system, linking it to our larger performance management system in the company. And as I said, it has 5 modules, 5 major pieces to it. But one of the first pieces and the largest is how you plan not only on acquiring the HR or human capital from the market, but also to how to motivate, retain them, and make sure that they come up to a level whereby they can look eye to eye with the company, and the company can do the vice versa, and the value there is for long-term benefit for both parties.
That's the way to actually proceed. Now, there have been suggestions that perhaps at university level, it's about time that a course was introduced to provide a resource for the BPO sector in Pakistan, because it is growing and we do need people. Has there been any move towards that? Has anything happened? Is there something you would suggest that the HEC or the education department get involved in to start a program like this?
As far as I'm concerned, I believe first of all, there's a third world problem.
Okay.
which is not Pakistan specific. That's
Yeah.
just a generic third world problem. People do not have the realization of basic principles like time, how to basically present themselves, or what is the basic definition of quality delivery, things like that. I think the universities, and this is third world, this is everywhere.
That is not specific to BPO though.
That is not,
should be
exactly,
taught anyway.
That's exactly what I'm coming to.
Right.
That I think in the final year in Pakistan, if we are able to put this into the minds of our people, of our young kids coming out of school, that guys, listen, doesn't matter what your uncle says or what your dad wakes up at 11 and 12 in the morning or whatever. You need to make sure that when you are professional, you need to have a lifestyle around it. And when you go to work, you need to make sure that you understand what you're representing and how you need to act.
Right.
How precious is time, and all of these things. So
Yeah, the value of time
I see a lot of creep there, a lot of creeping in time, and people just waste years after years before realizing what needs to be done and when it needs to be done. So and it's a generic third world problem, but
Yeah.
this
Very
I think
laid back actually.
very
Yes.
But so the building blocks of this has to go into our kids
Right.
when they are going at least in final year of school. After that,
Customer service.
I don't think it's a secret. Everybody knows that the talent pool in Pakistan is tremendous.
It is, definitely.
The potential here, the way the brain works. I mean, Jahan, I've been in this industry very long time. We've seen people who were working for us as agents, and now they have somehow managed to go abroad in some very good Western countries, and they are in front of my eyes. In a couple of years, they've progressed the ladder of that company. Now they are doing very, very well.
Right.
So this wouldn't be possible unless they had a very good brain. And they came from the Pakistani education system and from the Pakistani environment. And this has happened. You can't say this is unique. This has happened a lot in front of me.
So if we provide them the opportunity to grow here,
yes,
there's no reason to assume that they would not do fully well.
Absolutely, they will. They absolutely will, and we suggest that only if, because of third world again, and because of being so centrally controlled, only if the government is able to focus a little bit on providing, even on zero margin, its own businesses outsourceable to the industry here, and in turn the industry hires and trains these people, and in turn the university, so this becomes concentric circles then, the three big concentric circles.
It would make government more efficient as well, because citizen services are very important, and they are increasing by the day, and the demand from citizens is increasing.
What will happen is very simple. If you provide 1,000 people to companies as outsourceable input, the cost of doing business for that company, that because the fixed cost goes down. And in the night, when the West is open, the Pakistani companies can really provide very good value in terms of pricing, and already since they will have the daytime learnings and the knowledge and the maturity come in, and they can apply the same in the night. So
when do they sleep?
Well, they don't want to sleep.
You're not a slave driver, I hope. I'm sure you're talking about shifts.
It's
going to work on a shift.
Please, I'm not talking about the same. Come on.
Just kidding.
Pakistan, you come in, so people work 24 hours a day.
No, I thought that was what you were proposing.
No. So the universities have to kick in.
Right.
But the industry has to kick in after the university.
Right, of course.
And the government has to kick in before that.
So it has to be a collaboration.
It has to be concentric, otherwise you won't be able to move this. Let's be very honest about it.
Right.
If the university start training and kicking out, or putting out 1,000 people a month, where will you put them? After all, it will be like, I just got to do this call center course.
Right.
It has no value for me, but I got to do this customer-centric course.
And it improves people's communication skills.
Of course, it does.
It improves their chances of getting a job in any sort of profession.
Yeah, customer services actually, if you have a background or if you get a degree, I just like to add something which he said. If you see outside in Europe or in North America, they have customer service degrees, 2-year or 4-year degrees, and people pursue those degrees, and then they get into different
professions.
Professions with that background actually.
Right.
I mean, it could be the airlines, could be the FMCGs, MNC, and anything, but they have that specialized degree. Over here in Pakistan, since the BPO has been around, if you see in last 10 years, it has grown up. We don't have people coming out with such background. They might have a customer service course, I would say. I mean, I don't know if there any university is offering, except 1 or 2, I would say. But if they introduce something like that, and they can collaborate with the private sector, that what exactly they need, so I think they can produce graduates which can be accommodated in the market. Right now, the graduates are coming out, but they don't know what kind of jobs are available. And the curriculum should be updated, because when we were studying in the West, at least we were studying which was happening around there. So when we were graduating from there, so we had to catch up, but not that much that we don't know what's happening. So this is something which
so the linkage between industry and academia, which all of us have been talking about, needs to be improved.
Yes, it should be improved.
So that they deliver the kind of people we need, and that will allow us to grow.
Yeah, because the graduates come out from school, and then they go for courses, they spend more time, money, and energy, and then they go and apply for jobs.
Right.
So the transition should be, they come out from schools, and if they have the relevant experience, or they have gotten the training, they should land in the company.
Right. No, that's absolutely right. I think that we've talked about this quite often, and there is a lot of effort that is being put into making sure that universities and kids are aware of the kind of people that are required, not just by the industry but also by the government.
Exactly.
And people go into different sectors, some go into the NGO sector, and so the right kind of people are, the people with the right kind of knowledge are produced. Okay, that's terrific. I think this has been extremely interesting. Thanks so much for coming in and talking about it. We really appreciate your taking out the time.
Thanks.
And we wish you luck. I'm very excited about the growth of Sybrid, and we'll talk to you again when you sort of double your workforce, which I think Anwar is quite likely to do. He's quite ready to accelerate growth. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
We talked about the BPO sector and how Sybrid has spent the last 2 years ensuring that once the company started, they were on the right footing, and I think they're going to go far. This is Jahara signing off from another episode of ITLOW.